Yeah, this is going to be a video about a really simple FC, a function. I'm going to use this template project, and what the function is going to do is just going to toggle an output on the PLC. And so what I'm going to program the FC, and then I'm going to call it in our environment so that it executes. Yeah, here is the sample project. I'm just going to close down. We have to make some IO too, but I'm just going to close down, so we just start with nothing. So if we go through down here to the program blocks, the programs, main, and program sections. Here are the exercises, so those are for the future. So what I'm going to make is a new program section here. First a new group, 00, simple PO use. That's going to be a simple FB2. And in here I have to add an FC, a function. That's a right click, add new block. This is going to be a function. So it's going to be called fcSquareWave. That's what it's going to do. Structure command language is high-level language we're going to program here. And then it's open. There's not going to be any inputs and outputs, but it's going to be a Boolean, bool, because it's going to return this SquareWave pulse. Yeah. SquareWave. Oh, whatever. This one here, I have to write some code. Now I'm going to use information out of the instance data block in the system here, in IDB system. So I'm going to pick up this one, a 1 hertz, no, a fast flashing pulse here, this first one. There are two pulses, one for 1 hertz, and then there's one for some faster than 1 hertz pulse. I'm going to use this one as as a source for my function. Get data block. What you write is not that important. So FC square. This is my return from my function. It's IDB, that's the one I looked at. System, tab, and it just, this is IntelliSense, so it just fills in what I'm missing here. And somewhere down here, that was the, yeah, you can use this one. For fast flashing. That's all there is to the simple, really simple function block. You just compile once in a while, see if it works, and save. So as it's a typed function, the function has to be set equal to something. If it had been void, that wouldn't be necessary. But this Boolean is true, false, true, false, true, false. So that's a pulse. So the function itself is set equal to this one, and this one is pulsing. Now I can collapse some here. Now I want a program where I call my function. So let's add new block. This is also a function because TI Portal does not have programs. That's program element according to IEC norm. PLG PO use. And this is going to be void. And the only thing it's going to do is to call my fcSquareWave function. And calling a function is like this: fcSquare. Square is down here, tab, parentheses. There are no arguments to my function. Let's see. See what it says. There's something wrong with it if it's there's something. So I called my function, and what it did wrong is my function is type, so it returns something, and that return value I haven't prepared. I just called my function. Okay, so what I'm planning to do here to toggle a digital output from my PLC, and then I have to make PLC tags. Let's see if we can get that correct. I would call it QB fixed W, and it's going to be a Q. Q is for output. 0.2 is free, so I can use that. Fixed. And save. I can keep that open, go back to my program that I'm calling, and now I'm going to set this equal to something. QB, fcSquareWave. I have some tabulators here. Equals fcSquareWave. If I'm lucky, the red underline just disappears. So now at least the call is correct if it's doing what it's supposed to do. I don't know. We'll see. So the output should now toggle. So what I now have to do is I have this program, but it is not linked to a task. The program main up here is linked to a task, the background task here down here. And the background task is running cyclically. It's running all the time, doing its program and restarting immediately. So I have to call my simple POUs up here. Put it on the top. These are the exercises. PRG simple POUs. Now that is okay. There's no red underline because this function does not deliver any result. So it doesn't have to be set equal to something. Save. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to compile my entire CPU and see if there's something wrong here. No errors. So far I'm in good shape. And now I want to test it. And test is this one. I've selected my CPU, and if I activate this start simulation, what it tells me now is that if you work on simulator program, you can contact any live PLC, and that's kind of good, because if I download to a live PLC a program that I'm testing, well, the result would maybe be interesting and not predictable. So now I see. Now it should start. Starts the simulator. And it should offer me to download my program. Yes. If it's the first time the simulator is loaded with your program here, you will get a different screen here where you are asked to you have to search up, select an interface, search up the CPU and so on, and then load your program. I've done this before. That's the reason why I get my CPU up running. Okay, no action. I can select here, start the module, finished. Then the module is started. And to test this, I have to see this. I think it's out of the way here. to see if something is running. Now I'm going to look for glasses and the green arrow. Here's one. So this is what we call an online view. Now it's going to show me data in the CPU. This one is flashing. If it's fast flashing, I think so. It depends also on how fast this data is collected from the PLC. So at least something happened here. And I can go in my program, not a program, but in my FC. Here are also glasses and a green arrow up here. I just compiled it, so I have to move that. Here's a floating window where you can get information, and I can expand this. IDB system, IDB sys is equal to my SquareWave, or my SquareWave is equal to that output from my system function block. There is not much more. Of course, I could go in here also with a function, put on my glasses, and of course it shows the output here. And I can also expand that. It says my function is also toggling should do. Yes, in main I could also go online here, but there's not much to show because they don't take any arguments or anything like that. Now I could also change my my FC, this SquareWave FC, to take a slower pulse. There was another one. Now it's not fast flashing. The tube is a 1 Hertz, so we can just call it flashing. Save. And now this one has changed, which means that the green dot over here changed shape and colors. Although shape is round, but it just tells me that my program that I'm working on my PC is not the same as is running in my PLC. But now I can do what it's called, let's say, online programming. I have a CPU, it's running, and I can just download. This compiles, consistent download, yes. There isn't any, but if you can't download consistent, which means that my data areas and stuff are intact, you get a selection. But I can load this, and nothing should happen to the CPU. It stays in run, nothing. And then I think this one was online. So now it's a fixed square wave, but it's flashing slower. Okay. So, as I have only one line. So now I just want to change my comment here. Let's, instead of flashing, I will call it slow flashing. But still, it's not, my program online and offline, they are not equal. Even the comments here, even if the comments don't produce any code that is executed, still it tells you that a different program online and offline. Or battery flashing. Yeah. So that was a quick introduction, really quick introduction to a simple, really simple FC with only one line. So what was done here was that made a simple FC, collected some data from a system data block, flashing on SquareWave pulse flashing, and then I had to call the program, and as this function that I made is typed, I have to set it equal. I have a variable that I have to set equal to the function. It didn't want to compile if I didn't do it. So what I did then was go into my IO table just to find an output. I just picked an output which I assigned to my function, and then I had to call it in a program. I could, of course, have called my function directly in a task, but just to keep the program organized, I made a program for the simple PO use, I'm going to make one more function block, and then I had to call that in prgMain. And then I started the simulator and downloaded my program and tested it. And that was the quick exercise or the introduction to an FC.